Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the December 13th, 2023 Master Plan Committee. Tonight's meeting is being held in the Municipal Building, third floor training room at 355 East Central Street. The time being 6:30. A note to residents, all citizens are welcome to attend public board and committee meetings in person. The meetings will also be live streamed by Franklin TV and shown on Comcast Channel 8, Verizon Channel 28, and recordings of meetings are available on Franklin TV's Franklin Town Hall TV YouTube channel. Additionally, in an effort to maximize citizen engagement opportunities, citizens will be able to continue to participate remotely via phone or Zoom. The link to access tonight's meeting is listed below, or you can copy and paste the URL into the browser. Call-in phone number is 1-929-205-6099. Enter meeting ID 891433613888 and then press the pound symbol. Tonight's agenda, the first thing on our list, Janelle, welcome by the way. We have a few people that are remote. We have Meg Hagan, who is going to be one of our committee members who's going to be on Zoom tonight. We have Jill Slankus from Barrett Group, and we have Jeff from Beta. We are expecting our other members to show up a little bit late, but they will be here at some point. So, Clerk, if you just don't mind taking attendance, I'd appreciate that. The first thing on tonight's agenda, folks, usually I'm going to go with subcommittee updates, but since in lieu of time, Beta and Barrett have, if you guys don't mind me asking, how long do you have to answer questions tonight? How long are you available for?
We have an hour, Glenn.
An hour. Okay.
We're actually calling from out of state, and we have another meeting at 7:30.
Okay, then
And
let's.
Just mention Emily Farmer is here with me. Also.
Hi, Emily. How are you? Good evening.
How are you?
Let's get right into it, folks. I think this is really the crux of what much of our discussion is going to be. So let's get into the first agenda item tonight, and that's existing conditions and inventory draft report. Amy?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I sent out today, we collated all the comments that we received back. Thank you, everybody who gave us comments back. And just to let you know, we also did send this out, the INA report, to department heads. So you'll see feedback within this document that came from different departments as well within the town. I met with Jill from Barrett Group the other day. We kind of discussed how we're going to implement most, if not all, of the comments into the document. And so what we'll be doing is going through each of those comments. Some of them are corrections. I know some of the pictures need to be corrected. Determine if some of the data that was recommended, does it relate to the master plan or does it not relate to the master plan? So depending on that and how much data we can collect that was requested, because they did do most of the data collection already. So due to more time and efficiency and everything else, we'll see if that some of the stuff that was requested for data, if it's pertinent, we'll go and try to get as much information. If we don't feel it's pertinent, then we won't be. So we're kind of here tonight. I have them, so I asked Beta and Barrett to come with us. If there were any other questions for the INA report, our next steps over the next month will be myself, Barrett and Beta updating the INA report and then producing after the new year a final version of that. So we will be working on that. So this is kind of your last chance to ask any questions about it. So just wanted to make sure we get a chance to do this before we kind of close this out and move on to the next steps, or at least the committee moves on to the next steps. I still have work to do.
Yes, there are quite a few things to talk about tonight. I think what I would like to do is I'd like to bring up one of the first things that I noticed in here, and then I'm going to go around the room to each member, so each member has an opportunity to ask questions. One of the glaring things Jill and Jeff, that stood out to me as soon as I got into the INA report was it appears that you have, for all intents and purposes, and it's not specific just to this one topic, kind of collected some data within the document that is, for all intents and purposes, rather dated. What I'm specifically referring to, and in the comments matrix, this is actually listed under economic development, and this is actually on page 22. So this actually has to do with the economic opportunity areas, specifically related to line number 3, which is Pond Street Economic Opportunity Area consisting of 2 town-owned parcels of land, 33.995 plus or minus acres of land. That is reflected on the map, and I did note on the map as well to revise the map that that particular parcel of property is actually sold. We sold that piece of property on April 25th, 2016 to Bay State Franklin LLC, and that's currently been developed into 99 housing units, some 2, 3, and 4 bedroom units. So that particular lot, that 33 some odd acres, and the map need to be adjusted to reflect that these parcels are no longer part of our economic opportunity areas. I guess one of my curious questions is considering this was 8 years ago that we sold that piece of property, where did you collect your data from? Was that through Amy? Go ahead.
It's the town.
Okay.
So the town had not updated that map.
Okay.
They pulled I believe they pulled the maps off our town website. So that'll be a correction that I'll be making on my end, having our GIS department update that map and having that removed. So the map wasn't updated.
Okay. So that's already on
It's already on the radar.
your slate.
Yep.
Your slate to update it.
Yep.
Okay. That's it for me for now. What I'll do is I'll go around the room. I'll start my right. Ken?
No, I'll go. I see everything that's here, so.
You gonna pass?
Yep.
Okay. Eric?
Sure, yeah. I think I did have some comments throughout it. Some of it was on housing and economic. I won't necessarily go through all those. Certainly if there's any questions on any of the comments that have been put forward, I'm happy to clarify anything from that's associated with my name. I think where I'll focus mainly is on the sustainability section. We had a great meeting of the subcommittee and went through a number of areas. From my perspective, one of the things that I think would be improved in the sustainability section is around the characterization on the solar energy that's associated to the town. There's a number of different benefits that solar brings to a person or a business or a town. One of it's the environmental benefits of the clean energy, but then there's also the financial benefits. And since this is the sustainability section of it, it's really highlighting and referencing the environmental benefits of those facilities. But it's more likely, just knowing the programs that the state has, it's much more likely that the town is selling off those certificates and those credits, and so therefore can't claim credit to the environmental benefits associated to the solar facility. And so having further clarification in here about the town's ownership and the retirement of those renewable energy certificates and whether they can account for that clean energy would be a welcomed addition into it. Regarding there was a reference here to the solar loan program about how many solar projects might be sited in town. I would really suggest that the group look at the information on the qualified generation units that are participating in the state's programs. That is a more substantive list. The solar loan program ended several years ago. Not everybody participates in the solar loan program, so it doesn't capture everything. While most solar in the state is getting qualified underneath those programs, and so you can go to those qualified generation units lists to get that information. Another comment while I have the floor.
Do you have a specific question for Bader and Barrett, or is this just additional items you'd like to see added?
I guess it was just clarification on where
Okay.
some
Go ahead.
emphasis should be,
My book.
as opposed to questions.
Okay.
But I can pause if that's better.
No, that's okay. I'm just, in lieu of time.
Yep.
If you have a specific questions in regards to the INA report.
I guess two other points I'll just make then to make it quick. Renewable thermal isn't necessarily captured in the sustainability section. I think that would be a benefit and is going to be an increasingly focus, especially for the Commonwealth as well as the town if we're looking to achieve the net zero by 2050 goals. It's going to be difficult to get data, I think, on some of that, but I think at least a nod to it would be important in the document. And then I also added in a comment there about wind. Wind resource here, we have one turbine, but there isn't much of a wind resource here, and so it wouldn't necessarily be suggesting that that's a good option for considering other wind resources and other turbines in the town.
Thank you, Eric. Rick? Okay. Janelle? Specific questions in regards to the INA for Beta or Barrett or for Amy?
Yeah, in the land use section, I was wondering, there's a couple places where, oh, I don't have a mic.
Nope.
Thanks. In the land use section, there are a couple places where it references other sections in the document where it says, there may be capacity that's outlined in the housing section, or there may be capacity or recommendations outlined in the economic development, and I was curious if we could have just a summary of any of those land use opportunities in the actual land use section. Even if it doesn't, more details in the other sections, but just something rather than just the notes, and you can take a look at that. And then just, it was a general comment, but similar to what Glenn already said. If there are areas where the data is readily accessible, if it would be possible to have it updated to today's date. If this is our 2023 inventory, just pulling data the last time it was checked, from 2018 or 19 or whatever, that it feels like we're not quite there yet with getting a snapshot of 2023. So that's a general comment throughout the whole document.
Okay. Do you have any specific questions in regards to any area in the INA for Beta or Barrett?
No, just those two.
Okay. Thank you. Bruce?
No, I'm all set. I'll defer my time to Gino because he seems like he's got.
Okay. Joe?
One of the questions I'll bring up from the beginning was number 30,
Okay.
where they got the information that only 4 new homes have been built since 2020, I'm sorry.
Amy, you want to address that, or should Jill?
Let them address it.
Well, it might be something that could be directed to the planning department. It might be something they may have the means to provide that data for.
Putting it on you, Amy.
Nope.
I'll probably defer that to Barrett because
Okay.
they're the ones who wrote the document. Do you know where you got that data?
Jill?
I'm not sure which one you're speaking about.
It'd be page 30. Is that correct, Joe?
Okay.
Yes,
Page 30. We're
validate the number of new residential houses built. And it says that from 2000, currently, there are only 4 residential units built. That's what was in the report.
Right. Yeah, that year was incomplete. So if that wasn't noted, then we need to note that or see if we can update it with a full year.
Well, I was under the impression that was from 2000 until today. We want to know our current stock.
2020.
Right.
after 2020.
Yeah, we'll
But
clarify that. If there's not a full updated number, we'll footnote it or clarify that, but there should be an updated number.
Thank you.
Anything else, Jill?
Oh,
Okay, well, I had a lot of comments, mostly very minor clarification type things, but just a couple that I would like to note. One that the Sustainability Committee noted is that the 2 documents that would be helpful to the Sustainability Committee at least are the Energy Reduction Plan and the Green Communities Annual Report. It suggested that those be referenced in here and possibly with a link. And second, kind of just a general thing is, the characterization of Franklin as a central Mass community, which I just don't think that's at all accurate. And correspondingly with that is the airport serving Franklin, not including Logan, seems like a big oversight there.
Yeah, considering we're equidistant between Providence and Boston, it's a fair shake.
Yes, yes. I think most of my other ones are just clarifications, essentially.
Okay. I do believe they will address that between now and the next meeting. Any other specific questions, Gino?
Oh, yes, there is one other one.
Go ahead.
That I would like to mention. The table 8.1, which lists protected open space. This is kind of similar to the census one, I guess, but the table is labeled protected open space, but then it has 9 parcels that say it has no protection. And in a related one too is, there's a suggestion that the open space that is a result of the open space development bylaw may not be permanently protected. And I just wondered what was the source of that and why wouldn't it be permanently protected?
Jill?
Yeah, I'd be happy to speak to that. That should be, the table should be called level of protection. So one of the levels of protection is that there is none, and that kind of calls out the parcels that currently don't have any protection. As for the ones that are partially protected or whatever the other term was that you said, I would have to look into that, but we can clarify. It sounds like that information needs some clarification. And the source is the protected open space and recreation layer from Mass GIS.
Okay.
Anything else?
No, that's it for now.
Okay. No?
Actually, with all the questions from the sustainability group that we put together, I don't really have any other questions, just that I just wanted Jill to know that if she could, the table 7.1 could, and then could be updated on page 59. The information is in the Agricultural Commission part of the town website. So you can, there's a list there of all the family farms and what they produce. So that could be updated because that data that you got from that story map is a little outdated.
Thank you so
I
much.
just wanted to
We will do that.
let her know where that was.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Excellent. Anything else, Mel?
No.
Kobe?
I included a whole bunch in here, so I have no real questions, except I'm excited to see your responses. For the most part, I'd say most of my comments in the groups that I was in was areas that information that I thought could be added or clarified, and we tried in both committees that we were in to link to the data sources that we knew were available. I tried not to request any data that I didn't think was, so if there isn't a link and you need to shoot it back to us, either from mine or anyone's, let's see if we can find the source of that data. Just shoot a note around. The things that I wanted to make note of, and this might be more for you, Amy. I know we don't want to drag this on forever, and we can't keep adding to the list. I saw that Meg and I both had some that it looks like the cutoff was right before both Meg and I added a few comments, and then the Housing and Economic Development Committee. We had a very, very long meeting at the first time we could get it in, and it looks like those haven't made it in yet. So,
And if I could,
Yeah.
I didn't realize that I needed to hit send on some things to get to Amy so she could get it. So
Yeah.
it had been sitting in a document on my computer, and I didn't. And so that is not on Amy, that's on me.
So you were the last one to actually put comments into the drive.
yeah, and
So
it
I
looks
got
like Geno's are
yours.
the last ones.
No, you were the last.
I know, it looks like the Geno's are the last ones that made it in. So both Meg and I have some in the live document, in our document, that I'm not seeing in. I just checked Meg's as well.
Really? Are
Yeah.
you sure? because I took everything that,
I only saw one thing.
the last time I went, I looked today at the document on the drive, like the comments that everybody was adding. You were the last one to make comments.
Yeah.
And I included those. That's how I kind of kept my tracker to see if anybody else was adding it, because I knew you were the last name on it.
Like Meg had a comment on page 60, that's not here. And that was weeks ago, or whatever, a week, whenever,
Really?
whenever it was due. Or within a few days.
I mean, I'll go back through it.
That's formatted.
I know,
Amy, if
I looked at page 60.
Okay.
Yeah, I have 11 different comments that I've been added on there, all for the Natural Cultural Historic section that are not on the list that came out today.
Did you put that on the main drive, or do you have it on a
Yeah,
separate?
it's on the main drive at the end of the document. So the last ones that I see from the document that went out today are the ones right above mine.
Yeah, it looks like Gino's right above.
And Kobe's are below those as well. Yeah, Gino's are the last one, I think.
Okay.
Okay. Amy, would you mind taking a look into
Sure.
that?
Yep.
Now, anyway, just out of curiosity, is Jill and Jeff getting the updates as they are entered into the document, or are you sending them a copy of it? In other words, do they have access to the live document?
They will. We have a shared drive, which
Okay.
I think we can put the Word document out on that shared drive.
Yep.
I haven't started because, one, I wanted to meet with this committee and
Yep.
just get the final comments, and I'm glad, because I'm missing comments. So once we get all this together, we'll start the editing.
Perfect. Anything else?
That was it?
Okay. I'll double check. I might have to reach out to you guys because I didn't see it today. But I'll send you guys emails if I still can't find it.
Meg, any specific questions, comments for Bader and Barrett while we have them online?
I don't think so. I think mine are included in the comments. So once those get sent over, I think they're relatively clear for the additions and questions I have. So
Perfect.
I'll leave it at that.
Thank you very much. Erin.
Thank you.
And Jen, I'll come right to you. Erin, any specific questions, comments directed for Bader and Barrett?
Hi, no, I don't think so. Just what, with my subcommittees were discussed and added in through the chairs of those committees.
Excellent. Thank you. And Jen, over to you. Save the best for last.
I don't have anything more to add than
What's already been said.
what's already there. Well, it's too late, so I dropped the ball in getting my comments in before the 4th. And
Please note that you can continue to add comments because they're going to get forwarded to Bader
Okay.
and Barrett between now and, because they're looking to try to get as
Well,
much.
yeah, like in the next couple days.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna
No,
start
I have
plugging
them
away.
here. There were just like a couple discrepancies, or I wanted clarification on some of the numbers related to what the latest of subsidized housing inventory, 10.86 on page 37 versus 10.89 on page 39, and some clarification on some numbers. So I will
Just want to
get
drop
that
an
to
email
you.
to me.
Yeah, I will send you.
You
an
could do
email.
that, and I'll just put it into our main document that we have here.
Yep, perfect.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thanks, Jen. All right. Any further questions? We have about 5 minutes left with Bader and Barrett's attendance. Does anyone else have any general or specific questions they want to throw by them before they have to be excused? Kobe?
I guess just some clarity on what this looks like from here. And I heard on the way in, I was listening, but I didn't quite get are we gonna see the responses and have a chance to respond back? Is there gonna be a dialogue, or are we just gonna get fed the
Amy
responses?
said it earlier. Amy, you want to repeat?
Yeah, no, this is kind of the final comments, and this is why I had Beta and Barrett on tonight with us, because I wanted to make sure that we've collected all comments, edits. Now what we're gonna do over the next month is put them all into the document. There may be some items we determine this doesn't make sense for the master plan. Most of the items probably will. As much data that we can collect to put in there, we will. If there's some data that we can't, you know, it won't be put in the document. But that's what we're gonna work, and then you will see a final product in January after the new year.
Now,
And excuse me, Mr. Chair, may I
Yes,
add
go
to
ahead.
that?
go ahead, Jill.
Thank you, Amy. And so just so the committee knows, what you'll receive back is the revised final inventory and assessment along with a completed comment review matrix. So you will have the clean, updated version of the report, but you'll also have the comment review matrix, so you can then see what has been addressed and how it's been addressed and so forth. So those two documents will be provided to you kind of hand in hand, so you have them.
Okay, I guess my fear, and I'm hoping that we avoid this, is that we get a review matrix back with like a whole bunch of them saying like, I didn't get this one, or like, this one didn't make sense to me, where it's like, oh, we could have talked about it. So is there gonna be some like, if it wasn't unclear, or you couldn't quite find the data, that it's not just gonna be like given up on, that there's gonna be some dialogue?
Right, Kobe. Typically we say accepted, partially accepted, or rejected, and then we give the reason why. For an example, if something is rejected, it's because not relevant to the master plan. You know, the master plan is designing the physical evolution of the town going forward. So some of the stuff is just not, you know, relevant to that. But we will you know, say that, explain that. And other things we will say accepted, and that might not have a long explanation because we will be literally accepting what was suggested. Then if it's partially accepted, we'll kind of explain that as well.
Excellent. So, just, you all set, Kobe?
Yeah, yeah.
No, I can understand your curiosity, and I agree.
Feel free to reach out to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't
Before rejecting.
think we would have a response saying, you know, this was too hard or this was confusing. That's not like a typical response. It would be much more, you know, clear.
Yeah. I will definitely, if there's something I don't understand, and there probably are some of these comments,
I'm sure.
I will reach out to that person, and that's why we've got the source here, so we
Okay,
know who to go to.
quick question, and Jeff, I'll get right to you in just a second, sir. One of my hopes and goals of doing this through Google and doing it through a live document is that hopefully, Jeff and Jill, you guys would have an opportunity that as you progress through the document, making these comments, that, you know, at least Amy or even the individuals on the committee have an opportunity to actually see those as they progress through, unless of course you think that's a little bit, I guess, Big Brother-ish. We're not trying to overwatch you guys for the next month, but ultimately we're just looking to get your feedback on this, as Kobe put it, kind of sooner than later, just so we can get clarification before the next meeting in January. So what I was hoping for is that as the comment matrix gets revised and you give a status on it, that be kind of a live document. Is that too much to ask for, Amy?
I think we need to get through it first.
Fair enough.
Let us maybe we start like tackle a lot of it first.
Or at least a weekly, or even maybe a bi-weekly update, so that we can see what's been changed, so we can at least track it ourselves, if that's fair. Jeff, I'm sorry, sir, you had your hand.
Oh, yeah, thanks, Glenn, no problem. I was just gonna say, yeah, after we do a pass through the comments and resolution, you know, there's probably gonna be a small percentage, maybe we have to talk through, you know, saying, what's the direction, what should we do? There won't be, it'll be a small number of comments, I think, at that point. We'll provide, you know, the additional data that's requested as long as we can obtain it.
Okay.
You know, we can't provide data if we can't get it.
Right.
You know, we don't collect new data ourselves. You know, we don't go out and do traffic or parking counts, you know, as an example from the master plan road. But if we ask DPW or police and they have the data and it's relevant to the providing the snapshot of the existing conditions, we'll provide it. You know. Perfect. Not everything may not be relevant, you know, in the comments, and you know, we'll explain that, and if there's an issue, we can discuss that after.
Excellent. Thanks, Jeff. I appreciate that feedback. And according to, you all set, Kobe?
All set?
Okay.
Thank you.
No, thank you. According to our schedule that we spoke about in the last meeting, we had kind of checked off January 24th, and Amy, correct me if I'm wrong, to have that second version of the INAs updated and ready to present back to the whole committee. Is that a fair time frame?
I believe so. I think Jill and Jeff, right? That's fair to say. I think that's what
Yes.
we talked about that
Okay.
around that mid-January. So, yep.
All right, so just a note for the public and for the committee as a whole, we are putting down the date of January 24th, which is our second meeting in the new year, for the next version, or I should say, I believe you guys are referring to this as the final version, of the INA report. Sound good? All right. Jill, Jeff, thank you for your time. We appreciate you taking your time out of your busy schedule to join our meeting and answer some of our questions. And you guys are doing a very good job, and we appreciate all the hard work that you're putting into this. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks, Glenn. And I'll just say we appreciate the comments because we, this is typical for this process. It's a little messy at this stage, but we appreciate the input and feedback, and it helps us understand the town better.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Enjoy your evening, Jeff. Enjoy your evening, Jill.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Take
Have a good night. Thank you.
You too. Thank you. All right. With that being said, let's move on to our next agenda item. Subcommittee updates. Kobe? On
Yeah.
circulation?
It was probably after the last well, no, actually no, we would have met right before the last full meeting, so I would have talked to you about that. We didn't meet today, but we are reaching out to departments and gonna set up our next 4 to 6 meetings, and so look out for a graphic that includes all those.
Perfect. Ken, housing?
Housing Economic Development, we met on December 6th and went over the draft assessment inventory report. We also looked at groups and others to pull into discussion, and also town reports that we should take a look at, and we also looked at meeting times. Hopefully we're going to be meeting Wednesdays prior to these meetings, and hopefully January 24th at 5 p.m. will be the next meeting. But we know there's a bit of nimble juggling we have to do in terms of making all that work.
Okay. Just for the record, our first official meeting of the year is the 10th. So
Well, 10th.
yes,
How about that?
the 24th is the summer. Yep. And I know what I will do tonight, when we're completed with the meeting, is I'll go in and I'm gonna add in the dates, or you can add in the dates to Google Calendar. And one of the things I want to test, because we've been having some technical issues with the calendar, and some people actually getting notices when these meetings are posted, is I want to verify to make certain that everyone's getting these notifications. And the way that these notifications go through is actually the meeting gets set up in the master plan Google Calendar, and then based on the reminders that are set up in the post, it will send out 1 or 2 reminders to each of the members, either a day before or a couple hours before, depending on how it's set up. I don't want to inundate everyone's boxes with a million emails for reminders, but I do want everyone to get at least one. So when I put this into the calendar, I'll make certain that everyone's getting them. And I know, Eric, you've got some technical issues. Is everyone else receiving notifications and messages in regards to the meetings and when they're being posted? Emails, Google, reminders, and other stuff like that? Yes? No? Maybe? All right.
I guess you don't know what you don't get.
Well.
I know, I'm like, when did you send the
No,
last
that's-
one?
Well, is everyone at least getting something that they're getting an email? Because Amy sends out an email.
I
with-
think
I
I
sent
got
one
Amy's
today,
email.
so
today.
everybody got my email today, right? So we know
Yes.
that, and that's my
What time did it go out?
yeah midday.
10:30
I usually
maybe.
check things in the morning when I'm having coffee, set the day up.
Yes, Correct.
10:20.
Was there one with an agenda?
No.
No.
10:20.
We didn't get an agenda for this meeting, so the Zoom link was hard, well, I had to go on the website.
Okay.
Yeah, so if that went out, then, no, I didn't get it.
It did go up.
If you do it on the calendar, just a suggestion, you should send out the agenda also, because that'll have all the pertinent information.
Yeah, we can send out the Google reminders, but for the most part, the agenda doesn't even get set up until about a few days before the meeting gets posted.
Well, then if you send out a message every day of the day of the meeting, then everybody will
Yeah.
get it. That's
I'll
all
take care
it
of
is.
it. You all set? Pam,
Yes.
in regards to, okay. Janelle?
Related to setting up the calendar
Yes.
meetings, you do that, Amy does that. I made some the last time the subcommittee met,
Yep.
but I wasn't sure if I was supposed to do that or not.
Oh, no, that's fine. Amy?
Well, I'm the only one with access to the website, so I post it on the website. I have to
Yeah.
post the agenda on the website, put all the dates in the calendar, and get that on the town calendar as well. When you do Zoom for your agenda, you can connect it to the master plan, Google Calendar, correct?
Right.
Yeah,
Correct.
that's what I typically do with planning board.
Right.
So that's, should be already on the Google Calendar. Is there something else that's not getting set up that you would like to be done for subcommittees?
No, just, when I last made, Zoom link, it didn't automatically go on the calendar. I made a calendar invite, I put the Zoom link on there in the agenda, and then, we were going to meet this past Monday, and that needs to be rescheduled, so I canceled it, but then I got a request from Glenn and Amy saying, we need the agenda because the meeting's happening, and I thought, well, no, it's not, I canceled it.
Oh, okay.
So I wasn't sure,
I-
like, if it was hanging out there in some other calendar.
No, I got the cancellation.
No, it was, I didn't know, I didn't look. Yeah, I probably should have looked before I reached out for an agenda. I didn't look at the master plan
Yeah.
committee Google one. I was looking at the town one.
Okay,
So that's where,
got
I
it.
apologize for cutting into our subcommittee updates, but this is what the calendar looks like.
Okay.
So
Yep.
If
I'll double check it.
Right. So if you're, like, for instance, tonight's meeting right here, it gives all the information as well as scheduled posts. So it says there's gonna be a 2-hour message sent out, an hour message 2 hours before, and an email a day before. So you should actually be getting Google
Nope.
emails if you're on this. Okay. I'll verify that because for some strange reason, I looked at it tonight because I was trying to help out Eric, and it does in fact actually show everybody. You can actually see everyone's names right here, and it says see all event details. So there's really nothing else I can change. I'll look into it. I'm familiar with Google Calendar. I'll figure out why it's not working. All right.
If I may.
Yes, sir.
One of the things that's, Amy, for some reason, I cannot log out of your Zoom identity. Yeah, every time I get on Zoom, even today at work, for some reason, people are like, "Who's Amy Love?" So I don't know. I've been trying. Even tonight, I've been trying to log out.
The girl you met in France. eh?
Yeah. So I don't know what that's about. And I don't know if you've been denied the ability to log on, or if you're logging on as Ken Elmore. I mean, that might-
No. Do you guys, you typically rename when you do your subcommittees, when you come in, like?
I don't.
No? Oh, you don't?
In subcommittee meetings, I am Amy Love in the subcommittee.
Okay,
right?
so you can rename that. You have the choice of renaming that. Because no, when I logged on tonight, it was Amy Love because you guys aren't changing the name on it. It sometimes would come up the previous name. But you should be able to sign out of Zoom at the top right hand corner. Because I'm bouncing back and forth between our conservation agent that I'm trying to put all my other meetings on and saving the Amy Love one for only master plan. So I just do sign out and then but her name will always pop up and my name will always pop up but you just have to rename yourself. But you should be able to sign out of it,
Okay,
hopefully.
I'll give it a try.
But it will pop up my name, unfortunately.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, but feel free to rename it. Yeah, I mean, whatever subcommittee. Like tonight, you see master plan. I renamed it. It came up my name, and I renamed it to master plan. So, yeah.
Ken, any further feedback or points in regards to housing subcommittee? We're all set.
That's it, thank you.
Okay, Kobe, you had one more thing you wanted to say about circulation?
Oh, just that Franklin TV is editing our bike tour. They're breaking them down into different episodes. So as soon as we get those,
Did they make it a TV series?
they're making it a TV series.
You get 10 episodes out of it?
I
You go to syndication after you get 100.
I think it'll be 6 episodes. Yeah, and I expect those.
It'll be on Netflix.
The royalties. Yeah.
That's funny.
But I'll shoot those around once they come out because they're being edited now.
Too funny. Janelle, land use and zoning?
Yeah, I mentioned we were gonna try to meet this week with the planning department, and it needs to be rescheduled. It's just tough around the holidays, so I need to send out some dates in January. And we'll be trying to aim for Mondays again in the new year, but I know that's tricky too, because we got Martin Luther King Day, so there's, I just need to send dates around and we'll find a time.
Okay. Gina, and then Megan, I'll go to you. Gina, sustainability?
Yes, sustainability has started our outreach program, and most importantly, we will be at the Winters Farmers Market
Yep, I saw
on
that.
Saturday from 10
good.
to 2. Anybody listening should come see us. Melanie was able to set that up so that because it's a very crowded edition of the market this Saturday. And Eric has worked with Amy to provide materials that we'll have available to the public. And we're very excited about it.
That's awesome. Thank
Yeah.
you, Gina, and thank you, Mel, for,
Hopefully we'll have the survey
that would be good.
code, the QR code
Absolutely.
with us too.
That's going to be our next discussion item, after I finish with subcommittee updates. Meg, on open space?
Thanks, Glenn. Yeah, so we had our Open Space and Natural, Cultural, and Historic Resources Subcommittee just last night. We started just planning out our public outreach. So we're looking at doing our 2 separate events and focusing one on open space, the other on natural, cultural, and historic resources. We have 2 tentative dates, with potentially doing the natural, cultural, and historic resources at the library and open spaces. We want to reach out to the SNET Trail Committee and see if they have any events planned, because we thought it might be fun to do one actually out in open space, maybe a walk on the SNET. If we can't find anything that aligns with that, then we will look at potentially doing it at the Y or at one of the Fairmont markets as well.
Okay. Do you have a specific date in mind?
Yes, so for the library, we're looking at potentially the 10th. I have reached out to Cali to figure out if they're doing anything for the Lunar New Year. We thought it might be fun to actually have it around a cultural event in town. So Cali usually does something for the Lunar New Year, so we'll hopefully be doing the 10th.
January 10th, correct?
No,
No,
February.
February 10th.
February 10th, okay.
Yeah. And then we were potentially looking at the SNET for February 19th. Historically, the committee has done a President's Day walk, so we're going to reach out and see if they're doing that this year and if we can align it with that. And if not, we will pivot our plan.
Just,
It's awesome.
I'm the proud president of the Franklin Bellingham Rail Trail Committee, so I'd be happy to help schedule that.
So you're who I should call.
Yes. Yeah.
He just said yes.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. So you're doing the event on President's Day?
Right now,
doing a
we
joint
switched,
walk?
we used to do holidays, we switched to the last Saturday of every month, but
Okay.
we might, yeah,
We
we'd be
could do
happy to
around that
entertain.
then. I mean, I think that's a viable option for us. So, yeah, I'll message you afterwards and we'll lock in a date to look at that.
Perfect. Thanks.
Is that what you said?
Thanks,
Last
Kobe.
Saturday?
Last Saturday is what we or
Okay.
we do fourth Saturday.
Fourth Saturday.
Fourth Saturday.
All right, that will work.
And, thank you, Meg, all set?
Yeah, that's it for me. Thanks.
Thank you so much. With that being said, I just have a quick comment in regards to dates. One of the things I would like the chairs of each subcommittee to do, I know Meg just mentioned the dates for her potential public outreach sessions, is if you have ideas, places you'd like to host these public events, dates, etc. As soon as you get that information, try to get that information to myself and Amy, so we can get that on the calendar and kind of start promoting those dates and kind of try to get as much information out to the public as soon as possible and get these things on the calendar, just so we have at least an understanding of what direction we're going and what the timeline looks like. Other than that, Kobe, really quick.
Just because it came up, and before I forget, don't let me forget.
Don't forget, Kobe.
We added a trail counter. The committee added a trail counter to the SNET, so we have data on how many people have used it, and that should be added to the master plan committee. So just hold me accountable for getting you that data, because it's pretty cool. We have daily use, when it's popular, when it goes up and down, as well as the number of walkers since the start of February.
That's awesome.
Is
Is
that
that
the
just in
one-
Franklin or Bellingham or at
Just the start of Franklin.
Just on Grove Street?
Yep.
Okay.
Cool.
Is that the one that yells at me when it says you're going wicked slow? Can you pick up the pace a little bit?
No, that's just me standing by.
Slacker. No, that's good.
That's awesome, Kobe. Thank you.
All good information. All right. Moving on, item number 3, tabling and outreach of the survey. Amy, I just have a quick question. I know you have the matrix in your office. You can kind of keep tabs on how the survey is coming along. Any updates on that?
Well, I looked today. I know that we've got in 465 responses to date. So, be nice to get a few hundred more. I think would probably be more likely of a goal. So, trying to get it out there and try to get some more people to respond to the survey. Like I said, I think before, I've put flyers all over the place. And if anyone's tabling and need supplies, boards, large printouts, let us know. We can handle that in our department. So, like I just gave Eric a whole bunch of stuff for the farmer's market. So let us know, easels, if you guys need any of that stuff, if you're out there doing some tabling.
One of the things that I was hoping to do is during Christmas vacation, I'm going to be taking off a few days. I never take off days from work, but I'm going to be taking a little bit of a break. And during those days, I plan on paying a visit to the senior center because that's one of my favorite places to go. I learned a long time ago that I know nothing about cribbage, and the seniors taught me that. And I go down to the senior center every so often to visit. It's been a while since I've been there, but what I was thinking of doing, if anybody would like to join me for maybe breakfast at the senior center or going down and visiting the seniors, I've also got a good friend who works there. We can maybe bring them some hard copies of the surveys, or maybe even go down and interview them to maybe get some data from them. That if anyone's interested in that, I could plan on maybe putting something together at the end of December. Probably around like the 27th or 28th of the month. If anyone has any interest in joining me, I just kind of wanted to throw that out there. We could take the survey in a written form, or we can actually take it in the Google form and actually have them participate directly through us. Amy, you have a question?
Oh, no, sorry.
Oh.
I didn't mean to, no, I wasn't raising my hand, sorry.
Okay. Any other information about the survey, Amy? I know Steve Sherlock. You want to talk about Steve Sherlock really quick?
Yeah.
You had reached out to him, and he actually gave some really good feedback on the survey.
He did. Well, I know that he recommended a few changes on some of how we were doing some of the ranking. He talked about at the last meeting that he came to the master plan committee. So I did made a few very minor changes that he agreed with, Then he did, he mentioned, I don't have the email in front of me, talked about putting the matrix together, more or less, taking a look at the matrix, which I haven't taken a look at yet, but, so, he seemed happy with the changes. I know that he had concern at the last meeting, but seemed happy with the few change, more specification in the rankings is what it was.
Good. And I believe we actually picked January 3rd as the final closing day for the survey. So just for the record and for everyone here, to try to take some opportunity, I've been trying, when I remember, to try to get the survey back out onto the internet and try to get as many people to respond as we can. But if everybody could be so kind on their own social media areas, Twitter, Facebook, whatever, sorry, not Twitter, or whatever avenues you guys have available to you, to kind of push the survey out as often as we can, because like I said last time, many of these social media areas are like ticker tapes. Once you've posted it, it kind of just disappears and not to be seen again. So if we don't keep reposting it, we're not going to get as many of the responses as we would like. Kobe?
Can the next graphic have a big due January 3rd or you know, end date? Just really make that the immediacy clear, because it's an easy one to say that you'll get to.
Yeah, and I'll update the website on it.
Erin, got a question or comment?
Yes. Hi.
Hi.
I was wondering whether like a highlight banner or anything like that can be added to like the homepage of franklinma.gov, something that calls out the survey, that people can click right into it. Seems like an opportunity that I don't know how much traffic it'll have, but it's worth getting up there.
We have the subscription pop up, but
I know.
we only gonna do it for 2 weeks.
Actually, it's a good point you bring that up, Aaron. Because what I could do is we could do another reminder through all our social media and add the deadline. So like we did that once, and they're willing to do it as often as we want, to get it on all the town social media pages. So I think I will have her do that again, and then that will include the deadline.
Okay.
I think that helps, if we kind of stay on that. I don't know about how.
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking for folks that might not be on social media or active there, that having I know you can't have the pop-up because of the subscribe, but most websites will give you the option to have like a call out, box or whatever. It's like an alert is really what it is, that appears at the top of the web page. And if not, then
I can ask.
If that's not an option, then maybe something in the quick links could quick link to the survey, or I don't know. There's a lot of different options on the homepage, but I just feel like, if we really want people like to drive people there, then we need to highlight it higher up on the Franklin MA website than it currently is.
I mean, I can inquire. I could definitely
talk
and see if they can put a banner. Click here to take the master plan survey. I can ask if we can do that.
Yeah, that'd be great. Good suggestion, Erin.
Thank you.
All right. And again, just for the record, our review of the survey is posted for our first 2024 meeting on January 10th. That's when we'll be looking at the data that we have from that and reviewing that data. So please, again, take some opportunities between now and January 3rd to promote the survey as often as possible. Like Amy said, she's got materials for us to use to go out into public and post the QR codes, post the information that we have, and try and get as much feedback as we can. Let's see here. Oh, any other comments or questions about the survey? Before I move to adjourn, I want to answer a couple of questions or actually a question that came up, and that was at the last meeting. It was in regards to the potential use of questionnaires or Maptionnaire. I did inquire with the town administrator and the administration in regards to the potential use and purchasing of the software. They don't currently see the value in it as far as the town is concerned, because we don't currently have a need for it at many of the department levels. And just using it once for the planning department based on the cost to which it would be in the time frame that we have to actually get feedback on these things, it was basically decided that we're not gonna move forward with the map share for the most part. And I did ask whether or not the committee members could functionally donate time and money into it, and the answer from the administration was no. I had a feeling that was what the answer was gonna be, because it's kind of a hard thing to do. So unfortunately, we're not gonna be moving forward. Amy, that's basically, that's what you were told to. Okay. So,
That's a bummer.
I know, I agree.
I think the town could use it for a lot of different reasons, but I am not
It's potentially
paid by the
something,
town, so.
it's potentially something that may serve a use in the future if we have several departments that may benefit from it, only simply because of the costs associated with it. So, all right,
Erin's got her hand up.
Erin, sorry. Erin?
Just, Amy, I'm sending you new versions of the flyer right now with the January 3rd date on it. So just so everybody knows that they're out there. There's a version with the QR code and a version with the web URL to be, either printed or used on the computer, whichever.
Thanks, Erin.
Thanks, Erin. Hold on 1 second, Janelle. Meg, you had a comment really quick?
Just a quick question, Glenn, for you as far as the subcommittees. We were discussing last night what our work is from here before we go ahead and go into our public outreach, and whether or not there was a need for us to meet in January before doing our February public outreach. Is there any more homework at this time that we need to be doing, or can we go ahead and just focus on planning for the public outreach from here?
I think if for the most part, if the subcommittees have made their way through goals and objectives, and can really kind of start filling in some of those goals and objectives, and you feel that if each chair and each subcommittee feels they've addressed the specific goals and objectives in their specific content, and that they can move forward getting public input on those, then yeah, really, you won't need to meet again until you get public input on them. And then you can start, once you've got the public input, with public feedback, then you can meet again to accumulate and start filling in those goals and objectives that lay blank or unclear, and based on what the public has to say about it. So, if that makes sense. For the subcommittees that are a little bit further behind, they're just gonna have to move forward on having another meeting when they can to try to fill in or at least address the existing current goals and objectives that are in their content areas. If that clarifies things. Does that answer your question?
It does, thank you very much.
Okay.
We have a loose deadline for when we're hoping to get our goals and objectives done as a subcommittee?
Well, that's a good question. Because ultimately, the goals and objectives ideally would be nice to have those done before we actually go to the full public meeting in February. So if I would look at the calendar here, that would be quite literally the first public hearing,
February 7th.
which would be February 7th. So that's technically only a month and a half.
We might want to push it to February 21st.
Okay.
We have the option of doing that.
We do, yep.
If just thinking the meeting before that, January 24th will be the final draft of the INA. There wouldn't be much time to prepare for the 7th.
I think then, if everyone's in agreement, I would say the 21st of February
Instead of the 7th.
instead of the 7th.
Okay.
Is that a fair date? And I go to the chairs?
You want the subcommittee's draft goals and objectives by February 21st?
Yes. Well, it's gonna be hard to get the public input if dates aren't set up yet for the public outreach for each subcommittee. So, But what I'm talking about here is having gone through all of the goals and objectives in each area, economic development, housing, open space, et cetera, and having at least addressed each existing objective and goal, deleted anything that needs to be deleted, updated what needs to be updated, and keep whatever needs to be kept, and then get the public input. At least by the 21st, have that first part met. Because you'll have time after February 21st to still put forth because we gave until, I believe, March 20th for everyone to have had their public outreach results. That's the 20th. So. Any questions on that? Okay. All right. With that, I'll move on to, yes, ma'am.
Janelle.
Oh, sorry, Janelle. Go ahead.
Just to follow up on the Maptionaire, I understand the rationale that the town can't invest in that software right now, but if others in the committee agree that it does seem like a valuable tool that we could use for this master plan, could we perhaps ask our consultants for an additional service if they could do something like that? I'm just trying to think, if they already have access to the software, then it's really just the time.
I don't know if they do. I don't know if they have access.
Could we ask if people feel it's valuable? I'm just proposing the question.
No, I understand your
for-
question. It's just that that's not currently in their contract. And we would have to review their contract or add to their contract, and that would take an additional fee. And it's probably a fee that would be just as much as the cost of the Maptionaire itself. I think really what it boils down to is that if we implement the Maptionaire into the master plan, it becomes a permanent part of the town of Franklin's website and an interactive location for people to go to and review the Maptionaire results. It's also something that the town would have to maintain, and it would then become town property. So if we did it, in other words, if the town did it, the planning department did it, they would have to maintain the Maptionaire website, the Maptionaire links, and everything else that we would have, just like the city of Minneapolis does. That's through the city of Minneapolis. That was Minneapolis that you gave an example, right?
Yeah, but you can send
No.
time limits
Washington.
to
Yeah.
the survey. It can be closed at a date and you never have to touch it
Yeah.
again.
It doesn't have to stay live. You're worried about like a perpetual subscription to keep it live.
Well,
It doesn't have to be like that.
okay. Amy, can you ask Bader Barrett just to see what they're?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not in the budget, and it would require additional funds.
Right.
I don't know how familiar they are with the program. I don't, if they don't have a GIS department, they may not. I don't know. They've never talked about it, so
Okay.
I'd have to see if they even have the ability to do that.
All right.
I think that the cheapest route would be town purchasing it and working with our GIS department probably to put it together, because they'd be
It
able to
doesn't-
catch on.
I mean, they.
But then asking a consultant to do it, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's very easy to use and implement, create a survey yourself, like really anybody can do it. And it's done through publicly available GIS information. It doesn't require additional work or mapping by anyone. It's using all publicly available data. I don't know. I've tried my best to sell it and the benefit of it to the master plan committee in helping to inform or help all of the subcommittees and this group as a whole maybe make decisions with more easily, visually easy to understand, compelling, summarized data. Basically survey results that are meaningful, very meaningful, and can also be incorporated into the report visually. But if there isn't support for it or there's no way to do it, it's kind of out of my control, I guess. But
Yeah, I'll just add that, you know, a Google form survey is one kind of tool. That's like a 2013, you know, and we're supposed to be looking next
Yeah.
10 years ahead, 2035. And so having something that's interactive, that gives us better graphics, a different kind of data, can help us have a better plan. So I'm also, again,
I think what,
trying to show its value for our town.
I think what I'll do, in all fairness to your points here, is that Mel, Kobe, and myself, as well as the rest of the council, we have an opportunity in January to sit down and set our town council goals. As part of our discussion as town council goals with the town administrator, we can bring that up as a topic of discussion, saying, hey, would something like this be a benefit to multiple departments within the community? And if it were something that were of value, we would have the opportunity to incorporate it not just for the master plan, but for other departments as well. And that's kind of something that we would, because the thing is, it requires town time, it requires people managing things, and it also requires money. So we can bring that up to the council, I'll bring it up as part of our town council goals and discuss where within our goals as the council for the next 2 years, this is maybe something we could incorporate, which would then benefit the master plan as well as the departments as well. I would just, if it's something that would be of use, I would like to see it used across the board instead of for one specific purpose. Because I understand Jamie's point in that it's just, it's one survey, it's one thing, it's to put that kind of time and money investment into it, doesn't seem logical.
In terms of time, I just want to clarify that administering this type of survey would arguably take less time than administering a traditional survey because of the way that it automatically summarizes data and has a very easy to use interface. So I don't think that necessarily is an apples to apples comparison, because I think as a municipality, there are always going to be lots of surveys. And to Janelle's point, if it's more forward thinking, this might be a great time to transition towards a more forward thinking approach in terms of the types of surveys that we implement.
Okay.
I just want to support Jen and Janelle in this, and I agree with them 100%. I think we could use it for a lot of things. We've already put out, like, you think about this being used for the open space survey, it would have been fantastic to have that. A lot of our economic development things we talk about like where do people feel safe when they walk, and why do they walk there? Those are the kind of things that we need when we go forward with zoning changes and land use changes, and I really think it's a great idea. So we'll definitely bring it up.
We will. We will.
Thank you.
Just a small thing, and maybe for all your individual town advocacies, we are currently without any communications or community outreach personnel at all in all of town staff. I think that is a
huge loss,
mandatory and necessary piece of any community, specifically a community our size, and would be the exact personnel that would maintain and really value
incorporated,
such a
absolutely.
Was it discussed in the last budget?
No, this
How come
happens.
nobody brought it up?
No, we had one at the time in the last budget.
Okay, and they just left, or we cut the budget?
It was shared with the school department, and they used their half for something else.
Speaking of the money.
Go ahead.
Bader and Barrett,
Yes.
was that a line item for the town, or did it come from community planning? Where'd the money come
It's
from?
from planning.
Grant. We got a grant.
Grant from where, the state?
Yes.
How much was the grant?
I think we how much either 100 or 120,000.
Okay. And we spent it all with Bader and Barrett.
It's not spent
We
yet.
spent it all with Bader and Barrett. They don't have time to do anything else. They got an hour, half hour tonight, and a couple hours some other days.
It's a grant.
They're doing a lot more than that.
They are doing a lot more than you think they are.
Yeah.
All right.
Doing a lot more.
Any other questions, comments, discussions before we close? If not, I will take a motion
Motion to adjourn.
adjourn.
Second.
Roll call, clerk?
Absolutely. Bruce,
Yes.
Meg,
Yes.
Gino,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Janelle,
Yes.
Eric,
yes.
Jen,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Erin,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Clerk, yes. Vice Chair,
Yes.
Chair.
Yes.
Unanimous, sir.
Alright,
13-0.
We are adjourned, non-debatable. Have a good night, everybody.
Night.
Thanks, all.